Welcome home, beautiful. I'm Serenity Ravenwolf, the harmonious relationship catalyst from lovehealshumanity.com and serenityravenwolf.com, healing humanity with love. I'd like to share with you a heartfelt reverie on the topic of a heartfelt message to the beautiful women of the world. Due to the relaxing nature of the words that follow, it is recommended you listen to this when it is safe to slow down and go within. Beautiful women of the world, rest a while and listen as I remind you of the great powers resting there in your hips, on your breast, on your lips, in the fibers woven within your flesh of the magnificence you possess. Beautiful women of the world, beyond the image of external beauty you so diligently work to tend, beyond the idea that your external beauty holds great value and importance, lives something far more wondrously wild and uniquely yours. A marvellous beauty beyond standard, your raw and unfettered self, beyond the idea that your appearance is equated with your worth, thrives infinite depth. I'd like to remind you of your softness, your ability to heal, to transform, to nurture the world around you. I'd like to remind you of the natural gifts that came packaged within when you were born into this world as a woman. I'd like to remind you that your gifts of feeling empathy and love have never been weaknesses to sever yourself from, nor are they wasted on you, or something to run from, to feel ashamed of, or to stifle. So much of being a woman means to be a voracious feeler, to see all in the special way you so naturally do, to feel and touch and nurture the life that is both conceived in your womb and enveloping you. Beautiful women of the world, I implore you to remember your sensitivities are meant to be used for greatness, to love, to nurture the world into the next grandest vision of the greatest version of our evolution. The softness you possess is to be taught and shared. Beautiful women of the world, I'd like to remind you that within you lives an ocean of strength. I'd like to remind you of the galaxies that swirl in continuous orbit around your heart's center. I'd like to remind you of the clear connection you have with the divine, the source from which women were born. You house within you the most frightening, yet most expansive power of all, the power to love without condition, to nurture without thought, to breathe life back into broken and sacred places in ourselves and others. Always remember, these are your gifts. Beautiful women of the world, I hold the vision of you reconnecting with your innermost, untamed version of you, who has expanded beyond the confines of looking into the mirror to find her power. Instead, traveling into the uncharted waters that at times thrash around her, bringing peace and tenderness as you lead with love, healing humanity. I'd like to remind you of the vastness of your being before we got lost in the small box taught to us as women, before we were told to stop crying so often, before we were taught to toughen our skins, before we were taught to be hard, before we were distracted into thinking the roundness of our eyes, and the plumpness of our lips somehow held value and importance. Before we forgot that we are the boundless portals of life for great reason. Throughout history, we have been the soft earth from which all life arose. At what point of this adventurous journey did we get so lost to the value and importance of these very things? Beautiful women of the world, these amazing qualities residing within are calling for you to embrace and nurture them. They are exactly what the world requires and are to be cultivated with great care. If you find yourself feeling lost, disconnected from the source, alienated and abused by yourself and others, this is a sign from your soul to journey back to your wildness, your raw, authentic, vulnerable self. Sit with yourself. Be still and know you are God, great overall designer of your reality. Place your bare feet against the earth. Breathe back into the little girl you once were, the little girl who leads with her heart, the little girl who felt all the joy in the world and all the pain too. Feel back into the little girl who became afraid of all her abilities to see and feel so much, who decided it was safer to close than to open, to the little girl who listened to the people around her criticizing her for her sensitivities, calling her too soft. Travel back to that little girl and offer her your hand now from your grounded root, from this expansive space of mother or woman or lover. Love, nurture, and guide her from your most divinely loving, expanded self that has been patiently waiting for you to acknowledge and embrace her. Together, you are the divine feminine, the way shower, bringing forth a prosperous and harmonious peace on earth.